Well, we're sitting here waiting to lock in, so I thought I'd show you. This is kind of my little helm station here where I can look out and see what's going on. I can take notes or read or, listen to the iPod, navigate a little bit, check things, whatever, that type of thing. So anyway, while I'm sitting here, I thought, well, I'll kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what, yesterday it was a little too windy, so we were able to pull off, and just kind of find a little place. It was just blowing so hard. The past 2 days have been about 35, 40 mile an hour winds, and just makes it very difficult to try and travel. So I did a little work on the boat. I'll give you a thing. I put a new door in, which is really pretty cool. I was coming down the river and I found this camper just laying up in the brush, and one of the windows were busted out, but this was the back window, so I took it out of there and installed it in there and made a pretty good little door or whatever. But anyway, I've been reading some articles and different stuff or whatever, and one of the biggest things and one of the main things is hang on, I need to just put my glasses on here and make sure we're not locking through. I think they're filling the lock right now, but one of the big things about getting out and cruising and stuff like that is that I'm finding really cool is these huge boats and stuff are being really cool about, my boat. That $13 million boat that came by and stuff, I was in the same marina with them, and they came over and was commenting on my boat, and it was like, oh, that's pretty cool or whatever. And then that $7.5 million Lazara, he come over and says, man, I'd rather be doing what you're doing than driving that. And last night we were pulled over, and this really nice Hatteras come through, probably 50-foot Hatteras come down through there, and he was plowing hard trying to make time to get to the next lock. And he eased up off the throttle and eased by me because I was anchored up in the little cubby, or whatever for the night because it was so windy. And I just found that to be very appreciative. It was very nice that even my old piece of shit boat, which is really what adventures are all about, they're not about cruising in a $13 million boat. I mean, that's not an adventure. Come on. They've got everything and anything they'd ever want. That $13 million boat even had a gyro system in it, so the boat would not tip and turn. The same thing as cruise ships use. It's a gyro that spins in there and keeps that boat stable. The Lazara did not have a gyro, but it also had the external paddles that they could extend that would help, stabilize it so you didn't get the rock and roll, pitching back and forth and stuff, which was pretty cool. But a couple of the big main things out is to stay dry and stay warm. Those are the number one things. Have some good foul weather gear. This is really not appropriate for really kind of cruising intercoastal so much. The other thing is anytime you're coming up on deck on a sailboat, you want your life jacket on, you want your harness on. You always, as you're moving around the boat, one hand is for the boat, one hand is for you, always. If you lose somebody over the boat in open water conditions, there's really only an 80% chance that you're actually going to or 20% chance that you're going to pick them up. It's going to be 80% chance that you're not going to be able to get them. It's so difficult to find somebody. It's so difficult to see anybody. They now have LED flashing lights on the harnesses and stuff now that will, give a little better visibility so you can spot these people. So. And when you're on deck, you're doing your shift, you're watching for things, you're constantly watching for rigging, horizons, boats coming into your view, large super tankers, things like that, crap that's in the water that the boat might hit, stuff like that. When you're going down in rough weather, back down below, and you have to use the restroom, it's always preferred to sit, because trying to take a piss standing up as a male, you're bouncing, slamming all over the place. And if you know what I'm saying, I think women can concur with this. They know you piss all over the place, so they always recommend that you sit at the head and take a piss, so you can get your aim in there, because it's a bummer. Always use a tripod effect basically leaning up against something. Your 2 feet is, your sea legs and stuff bouncing around is really bad. Try to tripod, that. Extremely foul weather and bouncing around is always recommended for get on your hands and knees and crawl around the boat and stuff. Low center of gravity is the way. You don't want to go over the side. You do not want to go over the side of the boat. So, and you always are clipping in wherever you're going on a boat. Like I said, this don't account for this kind of boat or anything like that, or really doing intercoastal type of water. But this is for out on the ocean and that kind of thing. So, just a few tips, a few safety tips and stuff like that for things that I've encountered and learned and listened to, sailors that have traveled all over and sailed, across the Atlantic conditions and stuff like that. One thing that they've always, as a single-handed sailor, you are always clipped in. You never unclip. You always have 2 clips. You're clipping and working your way right, down the boat. You separate from your boat. It's goodbye. You're done. You're not gonna live. You're gonna die. There's just no way. The boat's gonna continue on. So, at least clipped in, you can drag yourself up on the boat generally. So anyway, hopefully, I think it's filling up here, the lock, and getting ready, and I can get in this one, get out of here, 10 miles down. Aberdeen lock, or Aberdeen Marina is which I'm going to jump into and try and get both these tanks filled. I only got like a half a tank, and I got about 13 miles to go. I hope I can nurse it down there. Had problems with the engine yesterday, but I was able to fix it again. I took the carburetor all off, readjusted the float, because Boone had showed me how to readjust that float. I actually took the needle valve out, cleaned it and stuff, and put it back in. Seems to be running okay so far. What I'm finding is what's happened, I think, and I do see the locks are opening right now, so good. Great, they've got it filled up, we can get going and stuff. Well, what I found is, I think when I run out of fuel, is it's sticking the float, and then that's what's causing the problem. But anyway, I'm going to get in this lock and get going. Peace.